When people describe the English landscape garden, they often use the same words: natural, effortless, untouched. But this is one of the great illusions in garden history, because some of the most natural-looking landscapes in England were among the most heavily engineered environments ever created. Hills were removed, rivers were dammed, villages were erased, thousands of trees were planted, removed and replanted again, all to create the appearance that nothing had been done at all. This episode explores a defining strand in the DNA of the English garden, the art of illusion. Before the 18th century, English gardens rarely pretended to be natural. Formal gardens were honest about their artifice. Straight paths announced human intention, symmetry declared control. Hedges, walls and compartments made it clear where nature ended and design began. A knot garden did not claim to be wild. A parterre did not disguise its geometry. These gardens said, quite openly, "This land is governed." Control was visible, order was celebrated, but then something changed. The roots of the illusion lie not in gardening, but in painting. By the late 17th century, European aristocrats were captivated by landscape paintings, especially those by artists such as Claude Lorrain and Nicolas Poussin. These works depicted idealized country scenes with gently rolling hills, winding rivers, carefully framed trees, classical ruins half lost in time. They were not realistic landscapes, they were composed landscapes, carefully arranged to feel harmonious, balanced and timeless. Crucially, they looked natural. And English landowners didn't just admire these paintings, they wanted to walk through them. And so the garden began to imitate art. No one embodied this shift more fully than Lancelot Capability Brown. Brown spoke constantly of a landscape's capabilities, not to preserve it, but to improve it. His designs introduced sweeping lawns flowing to the horizon, serpentine lakes shaped like natural rivers, carefully placed clumps of trees, distant focal points, a church tower, a folly, a bridge. Everything appeared inevitable, as if it had always been there. But beneath the surface was extraordinary intervention. Rivers were dammed to create lakes, entire valleys were reshaped, formal gardens were obliterated, and villages were relocated or removed entirely to perfect the view. The genius of Brown's work was not in naturalism, it was in concealment. The control did not disappear, it simply learned to whisper instead of shout. Perhaps no single feature represents this DNA strand better than the ha-ha. The ha-ha was a hidden ditch that kept livestock out while preserving uninterrupted views and eliminating visible fences, so that from the house the land appears borderless and ownership seems infinite. The ha-ha was functional, but it was also philosophical. It said, control should not be seen, power should feel natural. This illusion wasn't just aesthetic, it reflected a changing relationship with nature. Formal gardens had declared dominion openly. Landscape gardens suggested harmony. Nature was no longer an enemy to conquer, but a partner to choreograph. And this aligned perfectly with Enlightenment thinking of reason, balance, emotional restraint, and idealized harmony. The English landscape garden didn't reject power, it reframed it as taste. This DNA strand is still very much alive, because today we see naturalistic planting that requires expert management, meadows that need careful cutting regimes, wildlife gardens meticulously edited to feel spontaneous. We praise gardens for looking effortless, even when enormous effort lies behind them. The illusion persists. And perhaps that's the point, because the English garden rarely asks us to admire skill. It asks us to forget it entirely. The Illusion of Naturalness tells us something profound about English garden culture. It values subtlety over spectacle, suggestion over declaration, and emotion over dominance. The garden becomes a quiet performance, one where nature appears free, even as it is carefully guided. The English garden has always been more than a collection of plants. It's a reflection of how we see ourselves in relation to nature. In this episode, we explored the DNA of illusion, the art of making control disappear. In the next episode, we'll uncover another strand, one that shaped gardens through power, authority, and order. Because to understand the English garden, we have to understand what lies beneath the surface.